Hey guys, how are you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. So, everything was good for me up to a certain point. I guess my shadow side wants to come out right now, so hopefully you sit and enjoy this video. I was asked to be like an informant. I was asked to be like, kind of like a spy. So for my position, I was being groomed to kind of take the place, just temporarily or in need of another person for whatever it was their position was. And I was asked to do something for them because they had an issue with somebody else in their position. They weren't too happy with this other person. Now, I don't know this other person specifically, maybe just a little bit. I hadn't even got the time to really meet them, get to know them, and then when I did, I had a little bit of one-on-one. So me being like a third party coming in, I get to experience both sides. I see the one side of this other person that's supposedly grooming me for a position, and I see the other side of the other person that this person is not happy with. Now, it could be all sorts of reasons why they're not happy with them, but ultimately it comes down to insecurity. Because when a person of power in their position is secure, they look for good in others and they try to help another person instead of trying to tear them down. So I specified at the very beginning when I started this, before anything else, I said, I'm not going to participate in this. I'm not going to be a part of this. I'm not going to sabotage somebody else's position just because you don't like them for a specific reason. You don't think they're qualified. Well, that's one thing, but how about give them a chance to learn? How about give them a chance to do better, especially if they're new or younger at something? How about give them the opportunity? And I said, the thing is with this is that when you are trying to in their face encourage them to do better, and you want them to do better, or you want them to flourish and excel to your standards, what you consider to be qualified or good enough for you, but then behind their back say a lot of mean, rude, or not so good things about them. Nothing encouraging, nothing with constructive criticism, nothing of actually wanting them to do better, just tearing them down as a human being, as a person. That's completely different. When you have me come in as a third party and you want to groom me for a certain position, and you're expecting me to follow suit of your own unhealed, I'm going to call it drama, that you haven't resolved for yourself, and you expect me to follow in the footsteps of you and be like you, I'm not you, okay? There's tons of people on the face of the planet, and I'm myself. I'm me. And I don't really participate in any of those games. I'm not down for the mental fuckery. I'm not down for sabotaging another person. I'm not down for trying to set things up a certain way just to watch them struggle, just to watch them fail, or anything like that, just to satisfy your insecurities of yourself. I'm not into that, and I made that very clear to this person, and I told them up front. The minute I did that, things did shift a bit, and there were changes in the atmosphere and other people I was dealing with. So I knew right away that it was a form of manipulation. It's not actually because you want to see another person do better. It's because you feel at some point there's like some sort of threat there, or maybe you were pushed so hard. This could be another thing too. You were pushed so hard, people treated you shitty, people knocked you down, people set you up just to try to watch you struggle and see if you'll overcome it, right? Maybe you did overcome it, but maybe that made you a little bit bitter inside. Maybe it made you a little bit jaded, or you feel that it is acceptable to do that to another human being because it was done to you, so why not? You were pushed down, you were knocked down, you were hurt, you were tested again and again, and instead of having a bit more compassion moving forward and having that understanding, which a true leader would, you want to inflict the same chaos and pain that was done to you. Maybe in the same manner, maybe you put your own little creative touch on it. That's not okay. Not in my books anyways, not from what I've learned, not from the self-discipline I've had to have within myself. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Not once did those words ever come out of my mouth. And I'm not saying that I don't make mistakes, but I sure as fuck learn really quickly when I do, because that's a sort of motivation I have within myself. That's a sort of gratification I get out of my own life, is by constantly being in competition with myself to excel and do better. I push myself, I motivate myself. I don't expect anybody around me to do that for me, and I haven't for a very long time. In fact, I got to the point where I'm self-sufficient, independent enough that I do not rely on other people to motivate me or lift me up, especially if I fall, or if I hit the ground, or if I hit a bit of a rough patch or something like that. I lift my ass back up, and I use that energy, even if I'm in a more agitated state or anger or any kind of that. I will transmute that into something positive. I will use it to build. I will use it to create. I will use it to find solutions, problem solving, which is what a good leader would do. And I felt, in my capacity, everything I've learned, all the credentials I have, all the certificates I have, everything I've learned up to this point, I would be a very good fit. And I was almost hired on for that reason. I was brought in to be groomed for that position because I was really skilled at what I do, and I still am. And this person was well aware of that. They wanted somebody as a backup, and I was more than happy to do so. But the minute I realized there was drama involved, the minute I realized there was sabotage involved, and that I was going to be inflicting something on another person without even giving them a chance, or without even, no. And being asked to be a spy, so being put in one position over here and then go work with this other person and then kind of report back to us, so we could use whatever information you give us to help us in our case, whatever fucking case that may be. And I advised this person, it's not a good idea. I said, you shouldn't be doing that. And I said, if you want to encourage this person, you actually truly fucking mean it. You want to see them succeed. You don't want to try to get rid of them. There's a complete difference, because that energy resonates. So you may say to a person's face, oh, I really want to see you do good. I want to see you excel. I really want you to learn this, and maybe you have some, you have to work on this over here and whatever. But then behind their back, call them all sorts of names, or say they're stupid, or whatever, you name it. It's not okay. Because the energy, the other person may not be awake and aware, or maybe they are. Maybe they're very intuitive, but they just don't show it. They're going to pick up on that. And it will either mess with them if they don't have full confidence within themselves, or it will completely ruin the relationship between you and this other person. They're gonna know, one way or another. And I told them at the very beginning, the people that I was dealing with, that I'm not going to participate in this. And because I did so, because I stood up, I spoke words of truth to this person. I don't think they liked it very much, but I can't speak for them. Right? Maybe this will resonate in their head, maybe this will sink in, maybe they won't make the same mistake. And then later on, after I advised them not to do that, that's when they started getting on board and allowing this other person to flourish, allowing them to do better without the negativity attached to it. Because that negative energy that's attached to it's not going to help this other person. It's behind the scenes sabotage towards another person, purposefully. And I'm not going to be a part of that. I stated it outright. Because I did so, I had some issues then with those individuals, or the people that those individuals maybe lead, right? And I was like, I see this cycle. This is not the first time I've been in this cycle in a situation, whether this be at home, whether it be friends, whatever, you name it. I'm not going to get into specifics here or say names, but I've seen this cycle before, and I made it very clear my standing on it. And I had to stand up for myself because I chose to do the right thing, and I'm not going to go backing down on that just to get a fucking maybe leadership position or something like that, a higher position, more money or something like that. I'm not going to corrupt my integrity just to do that, just to fit in. I won't fucking do it. I don't settle. I constantly strive to do better for myself and excel. I constantly look for better ways of solving issues. not to create more issues for other people just because of insecurity. If I have insecurities, those are my own. And I go within to figure out where they're fucking coming from. If they're just projections from other people, I have to discern the difference instead of embodying that energy and carrying their fucking burdens for them, which I won't do anymore. I had to learn the hard way, that one. But I'm not going to inflict or create a problem for another person when I should be in a leadership position to find solutions, not create fucking problems out of insecurity of my own onto another person. I'm not going to do that. So I don't know who this resonates with. Maybe you've been put in a situation before where you were asked to kind of turn against another person, and you may not even know the person. Maybe you decided to go along with it and you're like, well, fuck them, I don't know them, right? And you have that kind of mentality. To each their own. I mean, it's ultimately a test. It's a test of your true self, how you truly feel about yourself. It's a test to see what you are willing to do. It's almost like, and the minute the person looked at me too, the other person that wanted to encourage this drama, they looked at me with tears in their eyes. It's almost like facing your higher self or your inner child. I'm not saying that's who I am to them, but the two energies, her showing me what I could be had I made certain decisions, and me showing her what she could be has she made certain decisions. It's like a mirror effect, okay? And this is showing each other, and people that come into our lives are supposed to teach us lessons. I made my choices, she made hers, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's free will. But when it comes down to it, the tears that were welling up in this person's eyes showed me that they're willing to almost sell their soul or sacrifice their good side. And they knew it fully. I wasn't heartbroken about the situation. I'm not going to go back on anything. I stood up for myself. And I didn't want this to continue. I wanted resolution of an issue or anything like that. And that's just for that circumstance alone. There's many other times in my life I've had to go through it. And the reaction I had in the past was like, not so good. And like my reaction when I was younger, before I knew all this, was emotional. It was completely emotional reaction of how I feel like a victim and how I need to defend myself, but not in a good way with any logic or reason. It's more like, oh, you did this to me and I'm so angry and stuff like that. That's how I used to react. Now I see the whole fucking situation. I try to get the sides of everybody involved, and then I make my judgment call. And I chose to keep my integrity intact and keep my dignity, and I don't care what people think about that in that certain circumstance for that situation alone. And if you've been placed in that situation, you ultimately have a choice to make. You can choose whether to go along like a group think, or you could think for yourself, because you're a very smart, intelligent person. And I believe that. Most of the subscribers that come on my channel, even random people that have never seen me before, hi, if you're new, welcome to my channel. I do lots of things like tarot. If you want a personal read or consultation or something like that, or you want some artwork, you come to me, okay? I'm not going to approach you. But even newcomers to my channel, if this resonates with you, you've probably been put in a situation where you had to make that choice. Do you sacrifice another just to get ahead? Or do you keep your integrity? Do you know when to walk away from a toxic situation? Do you know when to say no to the drama? Do you know when to do the right thing? And are you willing to be brave enough and bold enough and courageous enough to stand up for the truth? Not just to advocate for yourself and what you believe in, your morals and values, but to stand up for another person, even if they didn't ask for it. You don't even have to tell them you stood up for them. Just do the right thing. And this was a lesson for both myself and this other person in this part of the story in my life. This was a good lesson, and I appreciate everything that I was shown for this whole circumstance that I just went through. And it wasn't even like, to me, it would have been devastating in the past, but this is different now that I'm approaching it differently. This is, for me, a good lesson that I need to learn. And even in the circumstance I was in when I did decide to kind of back away from participating in that, I made the choice, instead of fighting back or going tooth and nail with this other person, I said, okay, well, I'll go back. Maybe there's things I need to learn here. I'm not going to be your spy. I'm not going to sabotage another person and their position. I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to step back over here and I'm going to keep doing my thing. And if I feel the need to defend myself when it comes down to it, I will. And it's the same for anything in life. So if you've been through this, I feel you. Either side, whatever you choose to do, okay? Some people believe it's like a dog-eat-dog kind of world, and you need to strike first, and you need to take, people up top. They say words are very powerful, and this has been reiterated and come out people's mouth like verbal diarrhea. They say, only you can't be nice and get to the top. You can't not sell your soul to get to the top. You gotta do some nasty shit to other people just to get to the top. That's not true. Never had to be that way. This matrix is bullshit to begin with. It's just an illusion. You have a choice. You don't have to be that way to do good, or to get to the top, or to build something for yourself and be successful. You don't have to do that to other people. It comes down to the choice. How much have you healed? How much have you learned about yourself? What do you want to do when it comes to situations like this, especially if it's asked of you just to get something? Well, do you really want to have that added to your plate of karma that you already have to resolve with your bloodline and your ancestors and everything else that's already meant for your destiny as is here in this physical realm? Do you already want to add more shit onto it that you got to carry with you? Almost like the 10 of Wands card, all those fucking heavy sticks or whatever it is that you have to carry. In this case, karma. Like, do you want to carry all that negative stuff? Do you want to add more to it? Because if you're a good person, and I know you are, then deep down inside, you're going to make the right decision for you because you know better. You respect yourself better than this other person or other people that are requesting certain unhealed things of you. You know better. So what are you going to choose? Ultimately, what are you going to choose? It is free will. You don't have to do or wish ill will on another person. You can protect yourself. You can stand up for yourself. You can walk away. But then it comes down to the phobias. What are you allowing to control you? What are you afraid of? What are you going to allow guide you? It's almost like the entity, that energy of fear. It's like when it comes into place, like, well, if I don't do this, then I won't get this. That's not true. If it's meant for you, it's not going to pass you by. I promise you that. The divine universe does favor those that do things for justice, out of right, divine purpose. So if it's meant for you, and you're being put in a position where you've got to choose what you know to be good or what you know to be bad. Mind you, neither is good or bad, it's just a lesson. If you have a choice and you make a choice that makes you feel like shit and you carry that, well, then maybe it's not the best choice for you, or that's not your purpose. And if something's meant for you, then it will feel right. You wouldn't have to sacrifice another person or do some harm to another person or sabotage another person. You wouldn't have to do that. And if you keep suffering after that, and you keep feeling burdensome after that, and you keep feeling like really kind of like that melancholy, empty feeling, like something's off, well, that's your higher self telling you it's not right. And your body starts developing ailments or pains or something like that. It may even manifest in the physical because you're carrying it. It's not a healthy choice, but ultimately, I even can't sit here and tell you it's wrong. I can't sit here and tell you sabotaging another person is wrong. You shouldn't do that. Some people do things out of survival. I understand why. I just know the choice that I made. I know that I had to be brave about it. I know I had to stand up for myself, even if it made me look a certain way, because other people have a good way of, or maybe a mastered a way of reversing everything or placing that illusion for other people to see. They have gone so far as to have this method so that they never ever have to look at their shadow side. They never ever have to face that. your inner demons, your shadow side, whatever you want to call it. People say, a lot of artists and stuff like that, they say that they have made peace, or they have made friends with, or they have turned their inner darkness or whatever on their side to fight for them, and use that balance between duality, light and dark, yin and yang. They've used that for good. You have to be unified within self. You have to be at peace with yourself, both sides. So there's times where I'm very high vibrational, and there's other times I'm still high vibrational, but I allow my shadow side to protect me and do what it needs to do. Because if I do not, then I'm not holding the integrity that I've worked so hard to gain. But I'm not doing it out of malintent. I'm doing it out of self-preservation. And I'm not doing it to hurt another. I'm doing it because I know what's right for me. So I can't sit here and tell you your choices are wrong or right. But what I can say is that I've been put recently in this situation, and I made a choice, and I'm happy with my choice. And I'm not angry, I'm not bitter, I'm not resentful. I understand that I had to make a choice this time around, differently than I have in the past. So I approached it different this time. The outcome's yet to be seen. I still have to know what's going to go on after this, but I know what happened. I seen the pattern coming. I seen it a mile away. And I know this is a reoccurring cycle for me. So knowing that, I decided to make a little bit of adjustment. So, okay, you know a cycle is coming up for you. And you see it. You see everything playing out like a reoccurring cycle. And you're like, okay, what did I do last time? Well, that didn't work. So let me try this. And then, or that didn't work before, but this time it's working. And you kind of like troubleshoot. You kind of troubleshoot just to find out what works well for you, till the point where you start mastering yourself so much that you don't have the need to be, you don't have the need to apologize or be apologetic for standing in your authenticity. You don't have the need to apologize for doing what's right and keeping your dignity and integrity intact. You don't have the need to even defend yourself. You can just walk away from situations that do not serve you. And you become more loving within self. You have the understanding. You're not necessarily mad or bitter about the person that's making an unhealthy choice, or in your opinion, and I say opinion, in your opinion, maybe a more toxic choice, or somebody that's even choosing to be good. You see both sides of it. You understand, and you also are understanding from your point of view where you're standing, your view on things. So taking a step back and looking at it all, acknowledging certain things, understanding that maybe there are some room for growth over here, or you have the right to make a good choice, or choice in general over here, and ultimately it comes down to you. Okay, guys? So if this resonates with you, like, share, subscribe. You do not have to. It is not mandatory for you to like my shit. You do not have to like my shit. You do not have to return to this channel. You do not have to share, subscribe, or do anything. You don't even have to comment. You can come by, mosey on over here, look at some of my stuff, and then maybe you find something else that's more suitable for you. But remember to love you. Please do.